Let us show you the basic game elements that you'll find in the core box. The main game board consists of 16 square elements measuring 8 by 8 inches. For testing purposes, we use a board printed in one piece. The board is further divided into 2 by 2 inch fields to facilitate movement. At any moment, one such a field can be occupied by a single figure only. As you can see, the board is quite varied. The smaller squares are laid out to form 4 big separate rooms: server room, storeroom, lab and leisure space divided by a central corridor containing a lift. TAC rating is an integral element of the board. It is a number placed in the corner of each room, denoting the level of tactical situation complexity, mostly representing the amount of cover for your heroes. The rating is used in shooting checks. Furthermore, if any of the players takes over the security terminal governing adjacent rooms, he can use TAC rating to his advantage. That mechanic is showing how the ability to use security cameras and possessing the information on enemy position is key to overpowering your opponent. The next element is one of the most important cards in the box, the character sheet. It describes all key stats, skills, upgrades, equipment and health of your hero. Every character has 2 main stats, physique and mental skill. Physique represents strength and body type of the chosen character, also showing the number of wounds he can take before becoming seriously injured. When that happens, the flip side of the card becomes the active one, where all the stats are significantly lowered. There is also less space for upgrades and equipment. If the character gets more wounds exceeding the amount of the new lowered physique, he becomes incapacitated and is eliminated from the game. Physique is also used to define the amount of movement points the character can use up during one action. We'll acquire that value by deducting physique from 10. It was a logical way for us to show that armored and heavier characters move slower than their lighter and less durable team members. Mental skill represents knowledge, experience and intelligence the character possesses. It is used mainly for cyber warfare or defense against malware and shows the hero's resistance to cybershock tests. More on that later. Under the main stats, you can see skills specific for each hero. They are key to setting the characters apart. The left-hand side diagram helps to determine which part of the body was hit during a shooting or melee, also denoting armor values or durability for each part. That value is crucial for weapon strength checks and wound calculation. Above the diagram, there are 4 slots for upgrades, also called chips for short. Each of the slots can be filled by one of the chips that will significantly alter the chances of a successful test, or allow the hero to use some special skills. They can also boost movement points, or increase the number of actions that a hero can perform during one turn. There is a downside to it, as each upgrade or cyborgization increases the chance of suffering from cybershock, shown on this chart. Starting value for each hero is marked by a thicker frame. As you can see in Scott Harvey's case, it is quite high, resulting from a large number of base cyborgizations. A player has to keep an eye on that value, because when it reaches 10, they will lose control over the character, rendering him useless. This symbol, unique to each hero, denotes luck whenever a player draws a can-do card. With matching color during a test, he can alter it with a slight modifier. At the bottom of the character sheet, there are slots for equipment. The player can place equipment and weapons cards, matching the number of slots in there. That way, all of the important information needed to play is in one place. The next card is a tactical network sheet. It is a universal card. If a hacker is present in your team and has a combat computer, he will use that card to represent his tactical network. Depending on the computer used, the card will allow you to fill up the slots present with either 1, 2, 3 or 4 different defensive software cards. When the hacker network gets infected with malware, the infecting card is placed on the first 3 slots with the lowest number. If there is no defensive software present, the infecting card will be put in the slot with number 1, meaning the hacker will be hit directly in the next round. There are also auxiliary cards showing the main enemies, the drones. In this case, it's Muramasa Battle Drone. The card has slots for equipment, but it is used mainly for drone weaponry, so you don't have to look for its stats in the rulebook. There is a small armor diagram as well, used during the wound allocation. Equipment and weapons cards. A weapons card, in this case it's an R9 custom pistol, shows effective and maximum range with corresponding strength. Below you can find special rules for a given weapon or equipment piece. Those cards are going to be placed next to the character sheet in the slots provided. Cyber warfare cards. They represent combat software, both defensive and offensive. They show 2 key stats, software strength and install cost in system resources. Below you can find special rules for a given software piece. In this case, it's a virus card and a defensive software also known as ICE. Virus is used to attack the opponent's network, and the ICE protects it, and you can come across both types of cards during terminal hacking. Tokens. We have heaps of different tokens that will help during gameplay. There are wound tokens to mark damage on the character sheet. There are tokens for system resources, to monitor how many programs we can install and run during a turn. Tokens to mark the Cybershock levels. Activation tokens to mark heroes that performed reaction shots, and also door tokens. There are terminal cards with class denomination and tokens for alarm levels necessary during AI movement phase. All drones move to the room with the highest alarm level first. Can-do cards. As you know, in the human interface Nakamura Tower, we decided not to use dice. Instead, we are using a card system called Can-do. This is what they look like. There are 3 elements of importance on the cards. First and foremost, the number, representing card value. Secondly, the color of the card. When it matches the color of the luck symbol on the hero's character sheet, the player can alter the outcome with a slight modifier. Some of the can-do cards also have special rules that activate immediately after playing that card. Their effects brings an additional element of uncertainty to the gameplay. It can happen that even a card with the highest value of 10 can put some special rule in play that will rob us of the sure success by taking away system resources or action points. On the other hand, cards with low values can put some positive spin with a special rule, giving us some advantage. A very important fact to remember is that chips, equipment and heroes' special skills can modify the number of cards drawn during one test, which can have a significant impact on the results. So do pay close attention to your character's upgrade possibilities. It's the core of the game, and their skills can sometimes tip the balance in your favor. Can-do cards are drawn to the last card and then reshuffled, so you can use them all over again.